Medicaid is ending for the low income. Well, not quite for everybody, but about 21 million people will be losing coverage. I have all the details and the shocking information right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now first off, in this video, we are specifically talking about Medicaid, not Medicare. Medicaid and Medicare are two very, very different programs, so in this video, I am only focusing on Medicaid, and we'll focus on Medicare in a separate video. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there right away from the very start. Let's get into it and talk about all the details about Medicaid and why about 21 million people will be losing coverage. Now, as of right now in the United States, there's about 80 million people enrolled in Medicaid coverage. That's a lot of people. However, it's anticipated by January of next year, 100 million people will be enrolled in Medicaid right here in the United States, which, by the way, that is almost 1/3 of the population of this country. As of right now, there's about 333 million people in the United States, so 100 million people would only be about 11 million people shy of 1/3 of the entire population. That's a lot of people, right? Well, here's the thing too. In order to be eligible for Medicaid coverage, you either need to be low income or a fixed income beneficiary. That's the only way you can get Medicaid. Well, do we want to see 21 million people drop from coverage? Probably not. Well, what does this also tell you about the health of this country and what is going on with the people? If 100 million people are enrolled in Medicaid or soon to be enrolled in Medicaid, what is that telling you? It's telling you that a lot of people are low income or fixed income or really having a hard time right now. It's not looking good, but let's get into it and talk about a new report that was just released and what they're talking about as far as what's coming for millions and millions of low income and Medicaid beneficiaries. However, really fast before we get into it, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video. As I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side every single day, watching all this new information, all the announcements and very important details just like this one, doing all the necessary research and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay updated with what is actually going on right now and how it's going to impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account. And of course, I also want to point out anything out there that you may be able to take advantage of, including money, benefits, checks, raises to benefits, programs for the low income, or anything else along these lines. Of course, I truly want to help you out in any way that I possibly can. So again, if you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss any videos going forward. And I'll continue to be here for you right by your side as that's my dedication, that's my commitment, and as always, I'm sticking to it. All right, thanks again. Let's jump into it and talk about this new report, what is going on right now, and what we really need to be aware of. All right, now here's what it comes down to. There's something in place right now called the Public Health Emergency Declaration. In fact, if you've been watching my videos for any length of time now, you've probably heard me talk about this. This has been around for a very long time. In fact, it was implemented in January of 2020. We're coming up on 3 years now, right? Well, as a result of that, this continues to get extended. Every time that we approach the deadline where it's going to be canceled or expire, they come out and say, we're extending it again. So that's why it's such a big deal. But here's the thing. Because the Public Health Emergency Declaration is in place right now, states get extra funding that they get to use for Medicaid beneficiaries, right? There's another thing too. There's one caveat with that. In order for these states to get all of this added extra bonuses and funding for Medicaid beneficiaries, the rule is you can't take anybody off the program. So the states are basically saying, or what's happening is the states are getting a lot of money right now for Medicaid beneficiaries, but the trade-off is you can't remove anybody from the program. If anybody applies, you basically need to give them coverage. So that's why we're seeing tons and tons of people enrolling in Medicaid right now. However, here's the thing. These are not my words, by the way. This is the words out of the reports out there and what is really going on. But unfortunately, some of the people that are enrolled in Medicaid right now are technically not eligible, okay? However, because of these new rules, because of the Public Health Emergency Declaration being in place, pretty much anybody that applies is getting coverage. Well, here's the problem. About 21 million people are suspected to be dropped from Medicaid as soon as the Public Health Emergency Declaration is going to be expiring. Now, as soon as that does expire, then all of a sudden, the states no longer have that extra funding come in, and now they need to purge how many people are on Medicaid that are not technically eligible for the program. And again, these are not my words. This is what's going on with the reports, and this is the reality of the situation right now. So, the trade-off for all the states right now, getting all of this extra money is you can't remove anybody. But guess what? When the Public Health Emergency Declaration is expired or it's gone, then guess what happens? All the states are going to start looking at their roles as far as who's on Medicaid, and they're going to start thinking, we got to get some people off here because we can't afford this anymore, right? It's costing a lot of money. In fact, the report that I found on this was suspecting that people that are enrolled in Medicaid right now that technically maybe shouldn't be getting coverage is costing $16 billion every single month. So again, here's the problem with this. Some people actually do need Medicaid, right? Who are low income, fixed income beneficiaries, SSI beneficiaries, some other people out there, right? Need Medicaid. Well, as a result of this, when they go through and the states start removing about 21 million people from the rolls, unfortunately what's going to happen is they're probably going to just basically lose coverage or unenroll a bunch of people, and all of a sudden you're going to find out that, they've unenrolled a bunch of people that actually should have been maintaining coverage, right? We see stuff like this happen all the time, right? They say, we're only going to remove the people that, maybe don't need coverage or something like that. And all of a sudden, sure enough, you hear about it a month or two later. Oh, just kidding. We removed 5 million people who actually weren't supposed to be removed. Just kidding. Sorry. You know what I mean? So we hear about this stuff all the time. So this is a major, major deal right now. A lot of people are facing Medicaid coverages being completely lost at some point when the public health emergency declaration does actually expire. So this is kind of a big deal because with all of these people getting this coverage right now, do you rely on your Medicaid? Which, by the way, when you go for a doctor's visit or you go to the pharmacy and get a prescription, something like that, your copays for a doctor's visit or a prescription item is probably either $0, maybe $1, maybe $3, probably not even $5 in most cases. So it's a huge, huge help for the people that are enrolled in this. However, if you lose your coverage, then what happens? Not a pretty situation, right? All of a sudden, those copays go way up because now you don't have that coverage, right? So this program is in place for the low income and, again, fixed income. But because of the public health emergency declaration being in place right now, we're kind of going down a little bit of a precarious situation where they're kind of going down a road where it's kind of like the point of no return, essentially, what it comes down to. But here's what's happening. In the back end of all this, the administration is working on different things to make sure that these people do not lose coverage. Now, again, I'm not saying that people are going to lose coverage for sure, and I'm not saying that coverage will not be lost. According to what I'm seeing right now, when the public health emergency declaration does actually expire, according to what's going on right now, it looks like people would be losing coverage. However, this may also be why they continue to extend out the public health emergency declaration, especially when the president said about a month ago that the pandemic is over. So again, doesn't really make sense here. Some things are contradicting. The president said one thing, and now they're doing the opposite, as in extending the declaration out, right? And again, I'm not really taking sides here. I'm not simply saying one side is, or one thing is better over the other. I'm just simply saying things are contradicting. So it's not really making sense what they're doing right now. But the fact of the matter is, the declaration is still in place. And one other cool thing about this, there's about 43 million people in the United States right now who receive SNAP benefits, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as food stamps. Well, based on the videos that I've been bringing you over the last few months here, there's about 21 states right now that still have extra SNAP benefits going out to the millions of beneficiaries. Now, again, of course, that does not include everybody, but about half of the 43 million people receiving SNAP right now are still getting the extra allotment every month, a minimum of $95. That's great, but guess what happens? When the public health emergency declaration expires, there goes that extra allotment as well. So you might actually drop down to the minimum benefit of $23, right? Again, I don't know your exact situation. It's going to be different for everybody, but SNAP benefits could also be reduced significantly for people. Now, again, let me ask you this much. And again, obviously, we all know the answers to this, but let's just answer it just for some fun here. Is right now the best time to be, cutting benefits for Medicaid and, dropping benefits for SNAP beneficiaries? I don't think so, right? Let's be real right now. This right now is possibly the worst time to be unenrolling people out of Medicaid, possibly the worst time to be cutting benefits for SNAP benefits, and probably the worst time to not be moving forward with additional stimulus checks, money, benefits, raises to benefits, monthly checks, or anything along these lines. Congress, I think we can all probably agree, maybe has dropped the ball. Not only did they drop the ball's rolling away down the hill, and they're just standing there watching it, just saying, forget about it. We'll find it in the gutter in about a week or two. Whatever, you know what I mean? By that time, it'll be covered with green algae and all that stuff. Have you ever done that when you were a kid? I know that I did all the time, right? You lose a ball and sure enough, you find it about a week later stuck in the gutter, right? Anyway, that's what happened to me, but I'm not sure if that happened to you, but sure enough, happened to me a lot, right? But anyway, this is kind of what's going on right now. So we completely understand that right now, during this high inflationary time where the cost of living continues to get more expensive literally every single month, we're continuing to see prices rise. And now we're potentially facing the fact that millions of low income and fixed income beneficiaries could possibly be facing the elimination of some benefit coverages and the reduction of benefits. However, one silver lining to this, and I'm going to throw this out there, they do continue to extend out the public health emergency declaration. So maybe by the time that they actually have this thing expire, maybe they'll have a better solution in place. Maybe they'll have a long-term solution in place to help people out right now, or to put something in place so that all of these millions of beneficiaries don't actually face potential benefit cuts and or reduction to their SNAP benefits. Again, a lot of moving parts here, but this report that came out saying 21 million people are facing basically unenrollment of Medicaid. Not a good situation, right? So anyway, I want to bring this report to you, let you know what's going on here, because I do know that a lot of you here in the community are low income and of course fixed income beneficiaries. Well, if you're facing something like this, you got to pay attention to it. Now, again, the 21 million people that potentially face, the loss of coverage would potentially be people that have enrolled recently and they've re-examined the situation, and then they think, okay, based on the current situation, based on this person's situation, they may not actually be eligible for benefits. But if you've been enrolled in Medicaid for, say, I don't know, a year, year and a half, 2 years, something like this, you might be fine, okay? Again, it's going to be based on everybody's specific situation. I don't know your situation, so I can't promise anything either way. But what I'm saying is, if you're a low income or you're a fixed income beneficiary, if you've been enrolled in Medicaid for a while now, I'm going to be real with you, you probably don't have anything to worry about, okay? If you're an SSI beneficiary, you certainly don't have anything to worry about. Here's the thing. SSI, you're pretty much grandfathered in for Medicaid and SNAP benefits. SSI beneficiaries, you get that, right? Whereas Social Security beneficiaries, they get Medicare coverage, whereas SSI beneficiaries get Medicaid coverage. I know. Now we're kind of getting into a more confusing topic here, but that's okay. We'll talk about all that in greater detail in a separate video. But I wanted to bring this report to you because this is something that's really happening right now. This is not something that's theory. This is not it's not going to happen, but someday we have to maybe worry about this. No, this is something that we certainly need to watch because this will happen at some point unless big action is taken to avoid people from losing Medicaid coverage. Make sense? Anyway, hope this one helps you out to better understand what's going on right now. I'm watching all this stuff closely. As I do get more details on anything going on right now, of course, I'll bring it to you right here in these short videos. So again, please make sure to subscribe down below, share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands and thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, have a good one. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you again later.